Hey everybody, I have a video here for you. Now I'm kind of taking a break from making research videos, but I do want to share a few things just in the meantime. And this is a picture I took on my hike a couple weeks ago up in Red Rock Canyon. This is a sign for the morons who defaced Native American rock art, really the only history we have of a culture living here maybe 1,000 years ago. People think it's cool to write their names and deface the rock art, and they got to put up these signs for these idiots. And this is a subject that really bugs the shit out of me, and I wanted to talk about it. And I also like to share as many ancient sites from around the ancient U.S. as I can. And sometimes you're in the mood to talk and sometimes you're not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you into a site on Google Earth and let ArchaeologySouthwest do the talking of a video they made here of the Gila Bend area. But I will take you into that location on Google Earth here. And there is a lot of Native American rock art in this area. And I will let them do the talking on this video, and I will leave their links below, and I hope you think this is interesting.
The Gila Bend area has as much time depth as any other area that we know of in the Southwest.
The Native Americans didn't have a written language, and the only record we have of them is the ruins, the archaeological ruins, and the rock images.
This is an area that has a tremendous amount in the way of the rock art. The sites there are some of the largest in the state. They need to be preserved. Along the Great Bend of the Gila River, there are a number of things that are absolutely fascinating and extremely important for us to preserve. One of the most important things has to do with the blend of styles that are in that area. There's three major rock art styles. There's an early expression that's called the Western Archaic tradition that underlies everything out here in southern central Arizona and actually much of the western United States. The Hohokam style, that area, it's characterized by both geometrics and life forms of various sorts. The Patayan style has far more human figures. There's a famous panel that shows a big archer. There's a figure carrying or swinging a bolo up in the area. And those things tell us a little bit about not just material culture, but activities, rituals, actions. The Hohokam and Patayan styles blended together, it tells us about both of the cultures, it tells how they interact, and it says who's walking through that part of the world. There's a tremendous range of geoglyphs that occur along the Gila River, Western Desert. Geoglyphs, I'm using it as a general term here to apply to everything from lining up rows of rocks in shapes to what some people call intaglios, where the desert pavement, the dark black rocks on the surface of the desert are pushed aside. You end up with lines that are visible. Geoglyphs can be shapes that range from human figures to circles, to segmented circles, to ellipses, all sorts of things. They occur along the Gila River, along the Colorado River. It's something that's been done in the Western Desert for many thousands of years. The exact meanings and how they're used, I think, is still subject to debate.
We farm about 10 miles north of Gila Bend, between the Gila River and the Gila Bend Mountains. And at the present time, we are growing durum wheat.
I've lived here on the farm since we got married in 1970. We feel very fortunate to be out here where we are in the country. Anytime you have an influx of people, you're going to have development. And the more development you have, then the land eventually is going to be worked. And the archaeological ruins then are at risk. And of course, there's always the fact that there's, vandalism with with more people in the area too. The rock images that are, 1,000 years old, some of them are being destroyed. Up near Gillespie Dam, there's people that are using the petroglyphs for target practice. There's some spray painting going on. I know the Red Rock Canyon site has experienced a lot of visitation, and with that visitation has come a lot of vandalism, and people like to carve their names on that sandstone rock. You have to remember that the Native Americans didn't have a written language, and the only record we have of them is the rock images and the archaeological ruins. So it's really important to study that and to preserve it as best we can.
We believe that everything here in nature, in the natural world, is really of great significance because they're all associated. And then when we have things that are evidence of the existence of our ancestors' travels and habitation in southern Arizona, such as with shrines and trails and petroglyphs, these are the measures that we would wish to support in any way that we can that would provide a greater measure of protection for many of the things that we find that our ancestors left behind for us as messages, as I said, to continue the traditional ways of our people.
We clearly are going to have to go in the direction of more public education because we still have people who are not as sensitive as they could be to defacing the rock art, things that are immobile, things that they can't protect themselves. We probably need to have more active site monitoring in the area. There are a number of interesting questions about Gila Bend. First of all, we're not covered with pavement yet, like the area to the north. So we can still do a lot of active field work. And there are a lot of questions of interest to archaeologists and anthropologists in general. For instance, the transition from hunting and gathering to agriculture, the interaction of different populations and how they learn to get along and adapt to each other. The idea of cultures existing in frontier zones, as the Hohokam occupation was here in that 800 to 1150 time period. There are any number of interesting anthropological questions and issues that could be explored now while we still have the opportunity to do so.